Hi, my name is Jack Dangermond, and I want to begin or start by acknowledging the 10th year anniversary of Esri Ireland, and that's a very nice thing, actually. Our first customer in Ireland was back in the 1980s, late 80s, for forest management, and I was thrilled to be able to go there and meet the people that were involved in it. We set up a system on a Prime mini computer, and it was just really thrilling. Today, there's over 300 user organizations, and I'd simply say they're doing really fine work. The context of Ireland today, of Europe today, and of the world's economy today is that we are in the process of attempting to recover from an economic recession, and this is serious business. What does GIS have to do with that? Well, in spite of the downturns in our economies around the world, GIS has continued to grow. It's continued to be embraced as a technology and useful in organizations. Why is that? Because it drives efficiency in organizations. It increases our transparency between citizens and government. It lets people understand situations. It helps us do things more efficiently. It's helping us make better decisions. Those four basic premises are why people bought GIS 40 years ago and 30 years ago, and why it continues to prosper today. It's certainly why I got interested in it, because over the years I realized increasingly that this is something that's very vital to be able to make our organizations and ultimately civilization itself really work efficiently. And in the context of the challenges economically, we see it not be cut back, but reinforced. In the challenges of the environment, in the challenges of natural resource utilization, and all of these things, we're seeing a need for better planning and better decision making and more open and transparent access to information, accessing science and information to drive better decision making and create the future. This is the context that we live in with GIS, and our investments in it reflect through your applications this technology really prospering. I appreciate being able to be part of your organizations in a small way. Being able to make better, do better technology, make better technology that helps your organizations do better. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to participate in those ways. The technology is changing. 10.1, as many of you know, by way of the beta release and now the pre-release, is pretty interesting. For enterprise users in the desktop and in the server space, it's going to make things easier and more efficient and faster in some cases, and it'll add many, many new capabilities. Spatial analytic tools, better performance in map displays, more interesting things in editing, those sorts of things. At the same time, with the release of ArcGIS Online, it's going to make our work more accessible. It's going to make GIS accessible across the organization. Is going to be mapping accessible to your colleagues outside of the narrow GIS areas. Knowledge workers, mobile workers, field workers, executives will have more access to your information. And also so will citizens. Some of you I know by reading through your work have already made your information accessible to citizens, and I can kind of go down the list. Things like Map Genie, for example, in the Ordnance Survey, was about making the whole body of knowledge in the Ordnance Survey available. The work that was done with the heritage services to open up and make accessible your information to citizens. The work that a number of local councils and cities are doing is connecting with organizations so that they indeed can understand what government is doing, making money transparent so that there's more engagement. This is very exciting news. So in 10.1, especially with ArcGIS online, the cloud, mobile technology of the future. We're going to see broadening of who you serve to include virtually all society in Ireland. I want to particularly acknowledge those of you who have achieved within our world organizations, and I'll kind of go down the list because there's such a long list. Derry City Council particularly I'd like to acknowledge because they were the first to embrace ArcGIS Online and put their information in it and start to make it available. But the other town councils and cities like Fingal and Dunlogary and others, well, nice work. Also, the Geological Survey of Ireland, very good work in opening up your information so that it could be seen in the context of economic development, making that data available so that people can have broader and more rapid access to it is exactly an exemplary piece of work. I want to acknowledge the charity heroes, specifically the Wheel Charity Organization, for letting people vote, a kind of Web 2.0 way on their favorite charity, and again, make charitable contributions more open and accessible. Responding to the baby booms, well, the education and skill development that the Department of Education is pioneering there with GIS is makes my heart patter. It'll make a huge difference in the future. And the unique public information system of Northern Ireland thrills me. I have never seen that. I'd like to come and look at it personally myself. This is for strategic investment and worth actually looking at and learning from. I'd also like to acknowledge the university, specifically the university in Maynooth. They've been pioneering programs for developing developers. We have a special acknowledgement for that. It's called the EDC, the Esri Development Center, where they're training young people to develop, using some of the new tools and some of the old tools, applications. In the future, this is going to be challenging, developing the foundation for a broad-scaled society to access the foundational information that you've been building. We need people that build apps. We need people that build maps and make them available through the web. That's very, very exciting future. So education is a big part. And this in turn will have an effect on economic development over time. Finally, I'd like to conclude by acknowledging my colleagues there at Esri Ireland. There's now 37 of them. It's kind of hard to believe that so many of you are helping our users and our customers there. This is important, is having a good relationship between our users and those who help teach you and provide technology to you. I want to acknowledge you because you are, in a way, in service to our users there, and I appreciate that work very much. Well, thank you very much for this chance to acknowledge you again on this 10 years anniversary where we really formalized Esri Ireland, and I would like to be there myself personally. Perhaps I'll be able to do that later this year. Thank you very much.